In this video we're going to be talking about practicing major 7 arpeggios on bass guitar. Now in the previous 4 lessons on practicing arpeggios we were talking about triads. In this lesson and the next couple we're going to be talking about 7th chords and the differences between the two and how we might think about shifting on 2 strings, shifting on 3 strings, etc. Now I mentioned in the diminished arpeggio video 7th chords are going to be a little bit easier just since there's more notes you have to keep you grounded in a position before having to shift. But at the same time, there's going to be a bunch more different ways of fingering the same thing. I'm only going to be able to show you a few of them, some of my favorites, but you can go out and figure out some more on your own. So let's start with a basic 3-string 1-octave shape for C major 7. We got C here, 3rd fret, E, 1st finger, G, pinky, B, 2nd finger, C, 4th finger. Now remember that I'm a big advocate of the 1-2-4 system, so that's why I use my 2nd finger on the B. You could use your 3rd finger on the B also. I just personally like the 2nd finger a little bit more. Cool. Now you can also use the open G string. 2-1 open 2-4 or 2-1 open 3-4. And actually, if you're using the open G string, you can also jump up here if you want. So C, E, open, and then play the B with your 1st finger. That way, you're kind of just using these 2 fingers. So something to practice. Another possible way you can do it is play C with your 1st finger, shift up, pivot shift up to the pinky with playing the E on the A string, then play the G with the 2nd finger on the D string, then play 1 on B, and then 2 on C. Now there's a third possible way of doing this. It's kind of odd, but you might want to just mess with it. Playing C, E, G, and then playing the B with the 4th finger on the D string, and then C with the 1st finger on the G string. Now, the reason why you would practice something like that, which seems like a very odd sort of thing to do, is if you just want to get like that subtle effect of playing a half step on 2 different strings. It's a certain musical effect, and actually Jocko was a person who really liked to do this sort of thing, especially unisons on 2 different strings, like, which sounds a lot different than this. And that sort of thing on when saxophone players do it, or trumpet players, or anybody else, is called a timbral trill, which is when you have the same note but the timbre changes on every other note. Anyway, that's kind of an aside. That's just sort of the general mindset you would use when you're trying to practice with that sort of shape. Anyway, moving right along, let's take 1-octave 2 strings. So the first way I might do it is play it like this. C, E, G, shift up to either 2nd or 3rd finger with the B. I'm playing with 3rd finger here. B, C. Cool. Another way you might try it is playing C, E, G, shift up with the 3rd finger here. Grab the C there. Now if you notice on all of these, whenever you grab the B, that's you're kind of grabbing it with a finger that you can't really grab it with the pinky, because then you need to shift up for the C right there. The B is always a half step below the top note. So that major 7 kind of almost limits you in a certain way. Another possible way of doing it, I guess, is doing C, shift up to E here, B, G, B, C. And there's also this one if you want to get really ridiculous. So C, E, G, B, C. It's not really the most efficient way of doing it, but it's a good thing to practice. And finally, let's take a look at how we might finger this one octave, one string. So we got C, E, G, B, C, B, G, and then shift, like that. Alright, so now let's look at a few different ways that we might do this 2 octaves across 3 strings. This is probably the first one that I would start working with. We have C, E, G, and then shift up with your first finger to grab this B, B, C, E, G, and then shift up to like your third finger, I guess, to grab that B, and then grab the C right there. Now that's one way. The thing I don't like about that one so much, although it's still good to practice, is that it's you're very much shift, 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 shift. More, I guess, fluid way of playing it would be like this, although this one will take a little bit more practice, where it's sort of your hand just sort of glides up, and so you do a bunch of these pivot shifts. We have C here, then pinky on the E, first finger on the G, pinky on the B, and then do first finger on the C. And so this first shift is a lot more natural than the other first shift where it's like that. This first shift just is a difference of a pinky here and a first finger here. So C, E, G, B, shift here, C, E, G, third finger on the B here, and C there. I like that one just because it's not as jumpy. Now finally, now there's a bunch more of these that we could go over, but I just wanted to show a few of these. Finally, we're going to take a look at how an upright bass player might play it through this. We're going to basically go up on the G string. Now, upright bass players really like to play horizontally here and then just shift along the G string, and that's part of the physical nature of the instrument. But it's a good thing to take a look in our electric playing too. So we're going to play C, E, we're going to play G here, and we're going to play basically just the regular 1 octave shape. Then we're going to shift to 1, 4, E to G. We're going to shift again to 3, 4, B, C. Now, if you actually notice, that's the same number of shifts as the first shape that I showed you. And in the exact same positions, except now you're just doing it all on one string. A little sloppy, but yeah. And you can also use the open G, I guess, if you were so inclined. Now, a general rule of thumb with that sort of idea is that with the upright style fingering, you're always using 2 notes per position and then shifting, so on the G string. So 2 notes in this position, B, C, E, G, B, C, C, B, G, E, C, B. Cool. Alright, I hope that gave you some ideas on just the general ways of looking at a major 7 chord and how to go about practicing up and down the neck. The next lesson we're going to be talking about minor 7 arpeggios and some of the niceties with practicing those, so stay tuned.